What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and there has been a lot going on in the UFO realm lately. There is so much news and information pouring out every day about aliens and UFOs, and it gets really hard to keep up with. And just thinking about it is crazy. You know, we went through decades and decades of a dry spell on information about this topic for years. Back in the day, you would be considered crazy or cuckoo, the town loony man, if you believed in aliens. And then as time went on, you might not be considered crazy for believing in aliens, but you were considered a conspiracy theorist. The topic was taboo. I guess that's how you use that word. I never have to use that word, but it was just a topic that didn't necessarily get mainstream approval. Don't get me wrong. You would sit down and you would find a buddy that believes in aliens, but the vast majority of people still viewed it as this thing of science fiction. Something that you only see in movies, maybe read about in books. But over the years, the acceptance of the belief in UFOs has definitely become more lax and more mainstream. But never for 1 second did I think that we would reach this point in my lifetime where we're literally having congressional hearings about UFOs. And for the most part, no one really cares. And you know, I see this misconception online pretty often, but some people seem to believe that UFOs are only sighted in the United States. And that could not be further from the truth. It's true that the US is one of the only places that keeps, a database and keeps track of UFO sightings. A lot of other countries don't do that, but some of the most famous UFO sightings have come from other countries and other regions of the world. I assure you, there is not a single place that you can go on this planet that does not have its own stories and mythology and various other information about aliens. So this is not something that only occurs in the US. In fact, I found it kind of odd that over the past couple of years, the UK has had an influx of UFO sightings. And when you look at the data, it almost seems as if these UFO sightings started going up around the same time that a lot of this information about UFOs started becoming mainstream. Like once the Pentagon revealed that some of the UFO videos were real and certain things like that, it just seems like around the same time period that our government started being more open about UFOs, the UK started seeing an uptick in cases of people reporting seeing UFOs. Now, that brings me to a point where I wonder, okay, because a lot of people still don't believe in UFOs, and it's really weird because here in America, we got to a point where a lot of people believed in aliens, especially us people who dive into the conspiracies, which usually are just facts and not conspiracies at all. Well, a lot of people believed in aliens until the government started openly talking about it. And it's weird because you could ask somebody, hey, do you believe in aliens? And they'll be like, yeah. And then you ask them a year later after Congress and, the U.S. government is pushing out all of this information, and now people don't want to believe anymore. That just shows you where we're at and how much trust we have lost in our government, because people believed in aliens literally until the government was like, aliens are real, and now people don't want to believe it anymore. And I can't really blame them. I still believe, though. But anyway, there's this uptick in the UK of UFO sightings around the same time that here in the US, we start being more open about the information we have on aliens. It leads me to wonder, are they coming forward with this information because they know that there's an uptick in aliens visiting our planet, and they know, we got this technology now, and we're going to find out anyway. The internet exists, video phones exist. Of course, we're going to figure things out. So they're trying to get ahead of it. Is that why our government starts being more open about UFOs while we see an uptick in UFO sightings? Or is it that our government, and maybe over in the UK, we're experimenting or training with new aircraft, and now we're trying to come forward with UFO information to trick people? There's various different outcomes here, but all we know is that something is going on. Either aliens are real, or the government has something planned up their sleeve using fake aliens or something like that, right? Because they're not coming forward with this information for no reason. And we're not seeing an uptick in UFO activity in the UK for no reason. Either that's an uptick of real UFO activity that probably pressured our government to finally start being more open about the existence of UFOs, or they're playing with some equipment, otherworldly equipment right now, so now they decide to give us tidbits of information that they should have given us years ago. But I want you all to watch this little news clip from over in the UK as they talk about aliens and the recent UFO congressional hearings. And then after this clip, I'll be right back with more thoughts.
It might be time to grab your tinfoil hats because the aliens are coming, and apparently a lot of them. There have been almost 1,000 documented UFO sightings in the UK since January 2021, and they even seem to be targeting certain areas of the UK more than others, with most sightings taking place in Greater Manchester, London and Chester. Now, at the end of July, 3 former military officials in the US told Congress they believe aliens are real and the government are purposely concealing evidence. A former intelligence official went on record to say the US government is in possession of non-human biological remains.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
So should we all be gearing up for an alien invasion, or is it all a bit of a conspiracy? Joining me now to discuss all this, UFOologist and host of Weaponized podcast, Jeremy Corbell, and UFO expert, the one who investigated UFOs for the US Ministry of Defense, Nick Pope. Gentlemen, thank you. Nick, I'll start with you. You were the person who obtained and released the military-filmed Pentagon-confirmed UFO videos that put into motion the first congressional hearings on UFOs in over 50 years, and the recent hearings as well. You were part of that. So, I mean, when we approach this topic, people can get a bit silly about it. You know, we had the X-Files music, talk about alien invasions, but this is very much your career, your life's work. Do you think people take it seriously enough?
Well, they do in the United States, sure. We've just had these congressional hearings, and, this person, David Grush, who's testified, was verifiably part of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. If he was making this up, he would be committing a federal offense, by the way, because this was under oath. He has apparently given the Senate Intelligence Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, and the Inspector General of the intelligence community very specific, checkable facts, project names, locations, a list of people who are prepared to testify. This is being taken very, very seriously now as a defense and national security issue in the United States. And it's a long time that the British government reopened their UFO program, by the way, that was terminated at the end of 2009.
Indeed. And look, Jeremy, sorry, I think I misnamed you at the start there. In terms of the recent congressional hearings that we heard in the US, what struck me most was that it was announced, but to very little fanfare. People didn't seem to care. It's almost like they've been through a pandemic and there's a war going on and the price of everything is through the roof, and aliens suddenly aren't that interesting or worrisome to them anymore.
Well, first of all, that's incorrect. And hello, Nick. Nice to see you. This is a completely different situation than is being shown right here. You said put on your tinfoil hats. People should put on their battle helmets. Right now, this is being taken seriously from the world public. It's a serious topic, and people need to understand why it's a serious topic. At this time right now, you've been told something historic. You've been told something historic from your government. You've been told something historic from my government. Right now, what you've been told is that UFOs are indeed real, that there is a technological aspect to it, and the world needs to catch up with consensus reality. It is being taken very seriously at the highest levels of government, and for reasons that are really good. One is strategic surprise. It's really simple to understand that if somebody has technology that we don't have that can outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform our greatest fighter planes and weapons systems, like Commander David Fravor, who testified at that hearing, told you, then this is something that it should be understood differently than how it's being presented right now.
Well, you've got an opportunity to respond to that.
Yeah,
I do.
No, this is all absolutely serious. I mean, a few months ago, this sort of thing would have been maybe just dismissed, but now it's being discussed in the United States Congress, in the scientific and academic community. There is, I think, a growing realization that this is real. And there are going to be more things coming in the next few weeks and months, by the way. NASA is doing a study as we speak. They're going to report later this month. There will be more hearings in the United States Congress, and there will be more whistleblowers coming forward, speaking out on the record, under oath, on the floor of Congress. This is a fact.
Jeremy,
Yeah,
is there an extent to the amount of information that normal people can handle? Is there an argument the government should withhold some information?
The poison right now is the lack of information and the lack of proper reporting on this. The only remedy and the only cure is to inform the American and global public. We are living in a data-rich environment when it comes to UFOs, or UAP, as you say. But the real danger is secrecy and lack of transparency. And what Nick said is correct. And I know because I've directly spoken with the witnesses that have already taken action that is not yet public to come forward. And America will lead by example, as we do at our greatest moments in history. But this is not an American issue. This is a global issue. It's not just bipartisan. And that's why you see AOC and Representative Tim Burchett leading the charge here, from people who are under oath, who have been designated to protect our national interest as well as our global interest. And we need to really look at how we treat David Grush right now, because these hearings, these historic hearings that you saw, was the first time in history that people are talking with firsthand information where they directly engaged UFOs in a combat situation as well as in training times. So what we see right now is an emboldening and an empowering of people who desire to come forward because it is the right, the just, the ethical, and the legal thing to do. But we need to see how David Grush, who is the only whistleblower that was standing up there, the other two people, they were just testifying. George Knapp and I, my mentor in journalism, we also put something on congressional record so that the public would be informed. People should look at that.
Both of you, thank you very much for your time. We've learned quite a bit there about UFOs.
I don't know if you all noticed it or not, but Jeremy Corbell seemed really aggravated in that video, and rightfully so, because you see how the mainstream media works, their play on things. Like they started the segment out by saying, grab your tinfoil hats. Like they're already downplaying the story from the beginning. And then they play the X-Files music, so you don't take any of the information you hear seriously. But how can we still be playing games like this at this point in time when the Congress is having hearings about UFOs? This is not two stone dudes on a couch talking about aliens anymore. These are our elected politicians and officials having top secret and sometimes not so secret meetings about UFOs. These are people who have high positions in our government, in our military, and you name it, who are coming forward with information about UFOs. We cannot keep playing this off as if it's the X-Files. Woo, woo. No, this is not that type of story anymore. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, we have to start taking things seriously. And I don't care if you believe in aliens or not. The fact that our government is having meetings about them, you better take it seriously, because best believe it's not happening for no reason. Whatever the reason may be, it's probably not a good one either. Okay? So I don't care. I don't believe in aliens. It doesn't matter. This is a distraction. Yeah, everything's a distraction. This is not a distraction. This alien story is 100% not a distraction. I'll give you the fact that there's a possibility that this isn't about real aliens. Oh yeah, I'm all the way there with you. I believe in aliens, but I think there's a huge possibility that the government has something else up their sleeve, but this is not something that you should look away from. Okay? There's plenty of distractions out there, I agree, but this is not something you should look away from. Okay? They're throwing this stuff and they're pushing this stuff for a reason. There's something coming. I don't know what it is. Will it be full disclosure and they just say, hey, aliens have been walking amongst you for years? Or will it be a fake invasion, a real invasion? You never know these days. Anything can happen. But my main point is we have to stop talking about this like we're little kids. We're all grown adults here, okay? When it gets to the point that our elected officials in Congress are having meetings about it, when it gets to the point that high-ranking intelligence officers are coming forward with information about it, we got to start taking it seriously. This is not something that you play around with any longer. But as you can see, people still want to play those games because they want to downplay the seriousness of this topic. And this is one of the most serious topics that is going on in the world right now. It blows my mind every day when I wake up and see the news cycle and I see that people are more interested in celebrity drama than they are in the fact that aliens have been exposed. You know, people don't care that our government is talking about aliens and literally talking about how aliens have attacked and hurt people in the past. People don't care about that. Let's talk about Lizzo. Let's talk about the Royals. Let's talk about a fight that broke out in Alabama. It's like all of the wrong things are what's trending in the news. So it really irks my nerves when people call things like this a distraction, when the real distractions are out there. And more than likely, as you label aliens and the story around aliens a distraction, more than likely you're being distracted by nonsense and following up with news stories that don't matter anyway. So moral of the story is, we got to start taking this topic seriously. And regardless of what you think is going on here, we all need to come together and realize that there is something going on here. We don't know what that something is, but it's something. I can guarantee you that. Let me know your thoughts about all of this, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.